90.5.
Peterborough Morning Drive.
Peterborough's Talk Sports Radio Extra 90.5. We're coming up on 7:41. It is 11 degrees outside, mainly cloudy today, a 40% chance of showers, a high of 20, a UV index that you probably don't have to worry about. It's at the moderate level. I am joined in studio again by Colin Teskey from the Extra Sports Desk, and look what the cat dragged in. Is this where we're at now? I'm joined in studio again by Rapid Robert. Is this where we're at now that you're not even booked for the show today? You just show up and expect to go on air? Is that what we're doing now?
I just zoomed on in here to see you, Jordan.
Is that right?
Absolutely.
And then we're not going to name the establishment, but you're disappointed in the level of coffee you received this morning. Is that right?
I thought the level could have been up, yes.
It was underneath the line.
It was, I'd say, half-inch underneath the line on a local coffee shop.
You know what? It's actually interesting that you did walk in, because you are a man who has had several stints at working at movie theaters. Is that right?
Back in the 80s, yes.
Back in the 1980s. Did you ever work at a drive-in movie?
Actually did my short period of, when I was a projectionist, I had to do the apprenticeship, so I did it at the Mustang Drive-In when it existed here in Peterborough.
Okay, well, I'm not going to say which drive-in I went to recently, but what was the security like back then, Bob?
When you pulled up to the booth, there was a guy on the right-hand side of the car, and he just looked. That was it.
That's it.
That's all they had.
Because I went, and give me your feedback and tell me if I'm completely out of line. I went to one a couple of weeks back, and basically what happened was there was a checkpoint before you actually got into the park, a guy who was standing in kind of like a construction worker vest, and he was like looking in cars, and it was almost like a border crossing. He asked you if you had anything to declare, and he was throwing out people's water, people's like chips. I understand that they don't want you bringing those in because a large portion of their revenue, I'm sure, comes from the snacks and the concessions. It seemed overly intense, and that was magnified by, it wasn't just past that one point. That particular character took it upon himself to walk around throughout the entire, 2 movies that we were there. I must have saw him 7-8 times going up to people's cars. Not necessarily he had a little flashlight. He's kind of walking around. If you so much as put your headlights on for no more than 2 seconds, like, he was all over it. I thought it was completely... it kind of disturbed me, actually.
What happens if you flash your headlights at that point when that gentleman's working?
Yeah, I think you might. I think that would be a good idea. Maybe take away the old eyesight. Does that seem overly intense, though?
Well,
or what?
You know what I picked up out of that story, Jordan?
What's that?
I actually picked up 3 words. I was wondering, you said confiscate.
Yes.
You said, what was the other one you used for the guy when he flashed the flashlight into your car? He was checking you out. And you said there was a checkpoint. So
Yep.
It seemed to me it was very militant.
It was.
And I'm
I
wondering
agree.
if it was the vehicle you were driving that day.
I was driving my typical vehicle. It is a Mazda. I don't know, maybe an import. Maybe they didn't like it. But this was happening to everybody. I'm not sure, like, it just seemed... I spent more time watching this individual walking around than I did the movies.
Okay, now you said he threw things out of the car, like basically
Yes.
he threw things out. Did he throw any
Yes.
bodies?
There were no bodies that were thrown out of the car, Robert.
So it's basically only food and drink.
It was food and drink. And I have to say that I did manage to get past it. I smuggled in some peanuts that were under the blanket.
So you said you smuggled in some peanuts?
I smuggled in some peanuts.
And a couple of drinks, probably, no doubt, Jordan.
Yeah, well, yeah. There were some colas.
Any ice milk at all?
There was no ice milk.
And was your trunk full at all during halftime?
Yeah, well, I had. I came prepared. There was blankets because it's cooler out. I had chairs.
Did you guys read the signs on the way in?
Other than if you're caught with outside food, that you could get thrown out.
So would you say you were breaking the bylaw of
Yes.
the drive-in?
Yes, I was. I was one of probably almost everybody who did that.
So on a percentage of cars going in, how many percentages of cars were pulled aside and throwing things out of their car?
Well, at least the 2 in front of me.
Well, so the experience was quite the experience. And
It was interesting. I will say that. It was interesting. Not to mention I got a terrible black fly bite, which wasn't good. So
that was on exposed skin, was that?
Yeah, that was exposed, and they should almost provide mosquito nets or something like that.
They do, but they're a large fee at the door.
Is that right?
So the drive-in experience, you went to the drive-in, you saw what you thought was great movies, you had a good experience.
No.
Oh.
Like, I saw 2 movies. There was Sex Tape and there was Hercules, and both of which were drowning in mediocrity.
Now, isn't that quite the double bill?
it's a very interesting combination. I was actually shocked that they were going to show Sex Tape at the time they did. It was 8:00, and that's usually they kind of do a kids movie first.
Yeah, wouldn't you have thought Hercules would have been on first? I would think at that point
Hercules,
in time.
Yeah.
Well, maybe they wanted to work up the kids first.
Yeah, maybe
for the big movie.
Yeah,
Hercules.
Well, that could be right.
So when you went to when you had the drive-in there, you're at halftime or
are you
in
interviewing me right now? Is that how this is going? You're taking over the show.
Or,
you're like when David Letterman has Howard Stern on. You're just.
Well, apparently you're the one that has the great story, so I thought I'd question a couple of things.
Right.
And did you go to the snack bar?
I did end up going to the snack bar, which I always was planning to do because I was going to get the popcorn. You can't have a substitute for the movie popcorn.
No, the bag popcorn at the local convenience store just doesn't cut it.
No, exactly. So I was planning on contributing, but
did he left the popcorn under the blanket also? So you got your popcorn and your peanuts in?
Yeah, I got that all in. Bob, have you ever had an impact on have you ever had really bad service lately or anything like that?
Actually, Jordan, it was funny. After you told me that story, I actually had a counter story the other day. So I was on the couch. We decided it was about 8:00 at night. We decided we were hungry. So what we thought we'd do is grab something to eat, and the decision was down to ham and Swiss sandwich, Jordan.
Right.
That's what it came down to. It was a quick decision.
Ham and Swiss.
We were in our jammies, and it was ham and Swiss. So the decision was to go to the local little store, convenience place and grab something, fast food, ham and Swiss, and we decided, no, we'll go to the grocery store and get the ham.
Right.
Because we had the buns and we had the Swiss. Very simple operation.
Okay, yeah.
Off we trot, we get in, we get out of our jammies into our clothes, we trot off to the local grocery store, walk into the local grocery store, straight to the deli, because what do we need, Jordan?
Black Forest ham.
Absolutely, shaved by my friend.
Shaved, not
yes.
thinly sliced,
no,
shaved.
Shaved. So we walked up to the deli, as we walked to the deli, I noticed something. The deli was closed.
Right.
Okay, now, I just got up off the couch, I changed, I drove my car, I went to the grocery store for shaved ham. I'm sorry, the deli's closed, sir. Why is the deli closed? What time is your store open till? 10 o'clock. It's 8:30, Jordan.
Yeah. Uh-oh. So maybe the deli closes earlier than the rest of the store.
Apparently it does, and
Right.
there was no sign posted. I actually decided to ask the girl why there was not a sign posted saying that the deli was closed when the store is open till 10. Apparently, there's no signs anywhere. Customer service, well, we're not sure how that all worked out at this point in time, but let's just say we got a package of ham, sliced, went home and made our sandwiches.
It was the packaged ham.
No deli, Jordan.
Oh, man.
Couldn't get her shaved up, buddy.
Oh, buddy. That's not good. Colin, do you have when's the last time you encountered some questionable service?
Well, I don't have a story where I was craving shaved ham at 8:00 at night, but I don't know if I can quite top that, Bob. That's a very devastating story. I hate when you go to a store late at night, you're craving something, you can't sit at home and make something at home, you want to go out and get that fresh food, and they don't have what you're looking for. So I side with you on that.
Thank you. You know why? Because I had the Swiss in the bun. I only need one ingredient, Colin. One.
It's the main one. I mean,
shaved ham, my
shaved
friend.
ham.
Yeah.
You must have a story somewhere that cuts the
I
the
guess
gravy.
it's a little more wild. I mean, I've gotten a bad stretch of food poisoning, and we had a basketball tournament we competed in for Huntington's research down at Fleming College
Yes.
a couple months ago, and the morning of, I got sick because of Chinese food I had the night before.
While we're debating your illness, it could have been your chicken out, I think.
I did not chicken out. I love playing basketball. I would not chicken out on that kind of day. So I've had a really bad stretch of that, but I've had food poisoning twice from the same restaurant.
Oh, you went back to the well.
Yeah, so I don't mind name dropping because it's south of the border, but Applebee's in Watertown, don't go there. Avoid it at all costs. You should not go to Applebee's in Watertown. And the second time I got food poisoning, I was sick for like 2 weeks.
What was the dish?
I had a club sandwich with avocado. And
That's the problem.
It was the avocado, and we called. We called the next day because I was throwing up and I was really sick. And this is our family vacation we take once a year.
Right.
So my mom calls up Applebee's and she's talking to the manager. The manager goes, "Well, we left the avocado out." And
so they knew.
They knew about it. They knew about it. And they're like, "Oh, well, this happens.
This happens.
This happens."
Okay.
Now, avocado's a fruit, right?
Fruit, veggie, one of the two.
So if it's a fruit, could it be left out, Colin? Was he true?
You know what? You're catching me off guard here. You can leave it out, but if it's turning brown, you got to turn. You got.
Yeah, maybe it was past its day.
I wouldn't put it in the sandwich if it's brown.
No,
Not if it's avocado. It probably was the culprit.
that was the culprit.
Yeah, it had to have been the culprit because I would know
They
if it's
knew
the
it.
culprit or not. So yeah, I had some bad avocado down in Syracuse, and I've always had a bad stretch with food poisoning.
No, well, you know what? We got to take a break. We're running behind here, but Rapid Robert, stay in studio. We're going to pick your brain a little bit more about some of the plans for the upcoming weekend, because I understand us three may be taking in a little music on Saturday, perhaps.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, all right. Dave has your headline. Sarah, your weather. This is Talk Sports Radio.
Peterborough. Morning Drive.
Good morning. Warming up a bit for the weekend. A high 20 today with a chance of showers.